Cool. So I'm CTO and co-founder of CHAINFOOD. We're a game studio that's trying to capture the sweet spot between Web3 and Web2 gaming. Now, what I wanted to open with was this nice little meme. We were just to ETHCC, and all you see are infrastructure projects. And a lot we hear as feedback from VCs as well is, hey, guys, what is your TAM? What is your SAM? Everything is about how many users can you possibly address. But nobody is really talking about the end user faced applications that are the ones doing the actual applications and are catering towards the end user. I'm actually happy about what has been presented today with Polkadot Pay, for example. I think we're going into the right direction there. So I'm actually super optimistic, and I don't want to shit on it too much, but I guess a nice icebreaker. So what problem are we solving, or what problem are we seeing? When we look as a game studio in this space, we see a deceptive dilemma. And we think that that dilemma a lot of Web3 game studios are facing makes them miss out on a huge potential in the market. So what do I mean with that? I mean with that we see two avenues a lot of game studios are going down. So you have the one avenue, which Mythical Games is doing, for example, that you try to compete with the big players. You try to compete with the big AAA sharks. So you build up an insanely big team. You try to tackle them with actual gameplay. You're facing a lot of problems doing that. So like I just said, it's a big shark tank. The gaming market is huge. You need a lot of upfront investment as well. I mean, only Mythical raised like a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars. And you need a lot of expertise as well. It's not an easy space. I mean, the marketing budget they are using for customer acquisition, I don't want to be the one in charge of that. I mean, also the market itself is just really hard to penetrate. So you're facing a lot of problems. On the other hand, you have game studios that maybe found a nice template in a Unity asset store, or have like an idea for a cool game, and they see Web3 and think to themselves, hey, this is awesome to use as a narrative, as a hype generator. We can build our community with that. So what they're kind of doing is building a game and just having Web3 kind of on the side, like I said, assets, or have like a token that doesn't really have any real utility. Yuga Labs, I think, is a good example there. So what your problems there are is that you're quickly being perceived as an investment object. And the importance of marketing highly outweighs the game. And in order to kind of keep continuing to build that hype, you're kind of promising more and more, kind of leading towards eventual disappointment. So both avenues lead to one thing, and that's a lot of times player unhappiness. We've seen it times and times over again on Twitter, people complaining about how bad games in Web3 still are. So what does this lead to? Like I said earlier already, it makes those game studios miss out on a huge market. And why I know that this is the case is because we got started like this. We were part of this letdown crowd that was kind of annoyed with what there is on the market, and we thought to ourselves, why is nobody catering to us? We're not alone. There are many like us. Why is nobody kind of listening to our wishes, our needs, but rather just go down these two avenues? Because if you look at the gaming market, and I'm sure we all know, it is huge. Like, there's a huge traditional game market that is still growing at a rapid pace. And we also have a Web3 gaming market that is on a pretty steep uphill trajectory. But the problem nowadays is that those two markets don't really overlap. You hear traditional gamers talk about how awful Web3 games are, and even Web3 natives are saying the same thing. So on the one side, you have the traditional gamers that don't care about Web3 gaming at all. And on the other side, you have mostly token speculators that are trying to extract some value. And the real kind of opportunity we see is in catering towards the sweet spot. That's what my presentation is called as well, right? Catering to both markets, not trying to conquer them both at once, but rather try to tap into them both. There's obviously huge potential. So the question is, how do you tap into those markets? And luckily, we aren't alone in this kind of quest to tap into that market, because there are a lot of trailblazers that are already doing it, and they have impressive numbers to show for as well. I mean, you look at games like Pirate Nation, Beacon, for example, just finished a big campaign, Pixels, Primordium. They are able to tap into that big potential by combining what we all love from Web3, like the speed of execution and creating great tech, but also they have compelling Web3 narratives. And in the end, they have meaningful blockchain integration. So it's not just on the surface level, but it's actually going deeper than all of this. I mean, if you look at the Beacon, I just mentioned them, they had like a SocialFi campaign where you had to retweet to get like a certain milestone. I mean, you look at the tweet, you see 200,000 retweets. Probably a lot of them are going to be bots, but they have like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of real players. There's demand for this. If you look at Pirate Nation, they just had to shut down basically their game with like a waiting queue because so many people were actually interested in trying it and actually experiencing some great UX, some great UI. So what we are doing a little bit different maybe is how we bring our games to market. So what a lot of game studios are doing is they're spending a huge amount of money on acquiring new users. And you also have all those ecosystem bubbles that are really present, especially in Web3. So what we want to do is, instead of taking that money to acquire users at an insane price, like we're talking from like $4 to $6, in Web3 a lot of times even more to acquire a single user. We would like to take that money and build some cool game experiences that aren't the next Call of Duty, they aren't the next Fortnite, but they're fun and they're engaging and people actually want to play. And we want to take those game experiences and deploy them into those ecosystems to ultimately burst those bubbles. I mean, we all know it, we are scrolling through Twitter. I mean, we are Decoded after all. You see open golf drama for 50 minutes straight, and at the end you think to yourself, what am I doing with my time? So we want to use games as the vehicle to pop those bubbles. Because the great thing about games and gamers is that they don't care which chain they're on. So you basically have this out-of-the-box chain-agnostic crew that really doesn't care which blockchain they're interacting with. So deploy games into outside bubbles and narratives, mobilize users in that bubble, and then, as the end goal, create a community that isn't bound to a specific ecosystem or bubble, but thrives a layer above. Kind of the Polkadot approach, but on a community level. So as an example, there's a meme coin going on Polkadot. Stink is huge, for example. We can be a part of that. We can use our games and experiences to write that narrative to really enhance what they do. There's an on-chain somewhere on Base, we can be part of it. There's an AI narrative push on Bob, we can be part of this as well. So our whole go-to-market strategy is that we want to get Web3 right first. We're super grateful about the community we have and the way they allow us to build. But what this really builds up to, and we are super aware of this, is a really great Web3 product that is then ready to ultimately tackle the Web2 crowd. So starting to build the game, iterate often, introduce stuff like wallet abstraction, gas abstraction, a mobile app, which at some point we want to be ready to just really go to anybody on any fair, not just ETHCC and Decoded, have them be onboarded, start playing, and actually enjoy themselves. So a lot of theoretics, but we are already building. We already have a game live, so maybe let's just quickly look at that. So our main game is EVRLOOT. You see it here on my shirt, and we're quite happy with how it's going. We have been iterating on it for over 1.5 years now. A lot of nice gameplay mechanics. If you want to actually check it out, want to get a live demo, just talk to me later. And we're kind of confident that we can replicate the success we have had with EVRLOOT. So like I just mentioned, our strategy is to build multiple games. One is going to launch with Ayuna. We have another one. We went to ETHCC now, for example, to find a cool home, to find a nice narrative. But we really believe that by building more game experiences, we can replicate this and ultimately get a big community through that. I mean, I just chit a little bit on infrastructure, but I just wanted to touch it as well, because while building, you obviously start facing problems as well, where you kind of think to yourself, hey, why is nobody finding a solution to this? So one example in our case was that we built a dark fantasy RPG. We don't want to use a normal marketplace where you can just buy and sell stuff. We want to have people trade. We want to have people barter. So what we did, for example, is create our own one where people create trades. They can bid on them then. There's also the option to buy out directly, for example. But kind of taking matters in our own hands, where we already had other games basically jealously looking at us and being like, hey guys, can we be onboarded there as well? So there's obviously always a solution or like a possibility as well to white label this and make it available to a bigger crowd as well. So kind of one missing integral piece to all of this, which we are super excited about eventually, is our token. We don't have a token yet. We've been building, like I said, for over 1.5 years. But we really believe that if you do it right, and games like Pirate Nation and The Beacon are showing that it is possible, you can create something really cool because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can take proven game design techniques like a battle pass, like reputation farming, like cosmetics, which players nowadays like and enjoy, and you can bundle it with proven Web3 techniques for tokens like token locking, token burning. So as an example, somebody in our game wants to purchase the battle pass. What they're actually doing is they're locking liquidity in our game and greatly reducing token velocity, so like the best of both worlds. Or somebody's buying a cosmetic, what they're actually doing is they're burning a huge amount of supply, creating deflationary pressure. So again, trying to find the sweet spot, taking the best of both worlds and applying it. Yeah, we have some nice traction as well. It kind of fluctuates, obviously, with the market, as everything does in crypto. But we were able to generate up to $15 per user at certain higher peaks. And we have a really great retention rate as well, which we're super proud of, and which is like almost our highest KPI. Yeah, we are planning to turn a break even around the end of 2025. And by far the best asset we do have is the team we were able to kind of assemble around ourselves. So it's me as the CTO, Decoded is here as well as, so Tobias, his in-game name, Decoded, kind of as the CEO and kind of leading the product side of things. But we have an amazing team of developers that is basically ready to go at the moment, still being, yeah, kind of with us and waiting for us to really take off. And we are putting in a lot of effort, and people are seeing this. So Crane is in the stands here as well. He's basically our tokenomics expert. We try to assemble a team that can really help us kind of set ourselves up for success. We've worked together with the Web3 Foundation as well, Moonbeam Foundation. We were part of multiple accelerators, and are also trying to really push partnerships. We are raising our pre-seed, closing that up now, hoping to find the last couple of private investors that can really help us push the narrative and really bring us to the next stage. Yeah, I see my time is just running out now. What we're kind of planning to do is, like I already mentioned, we have a team ready to go that wants to go full time and that really is really capable, so instant productivity boost. We've been fully organic up until now, so we really believe that by deploying some capital there and also getting some help outside of the current founders, we can really move the needle there. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. And if you want to talk to us, yeah, feel free to reach out. Thanks. I guess any questions or anything, you might as well can just talk to us. So, thank you.